What is up, you guys? Thank you so much for joining me again, and if this is your first time here, welcome. But I have come to share a little bit about the books, the apps, the podcasts, the audibles, all the things that have helped me dive in and connect with my spirituality and really just allow myself to be curious. So we're gonna dive right in. It's gonna be very eclectic, but my point is I don't necessarily dig all the way into every single book before moving on to the next thing. So I have a lot of this. Some of it I use every day right now, and some of it I take breaks. It just kind of depends. And some of these obviously I've read all the way through, but we'll just dive right in. I don't know, they're not even in an order right now. Okay, first things first is I have Harry Potter, and this is my number one recommendation because Harry Potter, besides like I love Harry Potter, it's really just fun reading, and I try to incorporate this all the time because it reminds me why I like reading, and it's just kind of like escaping. Yeah, so I am reading the Harry Potter series. This is Sorcerer's Stone, but I'm on the second book right now, and that's just the disclaimer. Like, no matter how much information you're taking in, still make sure you're taking in information that feels good and it's fun for you. Which way do we want to go? This was one of the first books. It's Chakra Healing. It's very like an umbrella view of, I don't know. I think it's a really good general book to start with. It kind of covers everything. Like, I mean, a lot to do with your chakras, but it can go into like, what foods you can eat and what crystals are going to help work with you, what meditations, what essential oils. I've always been a rock person. Like when I was a kid, I liked collecting rocks, and I always liked the crystals when I went to like Colorado and went into the fun little shops. I was always the kid like digging in the crystals. So it did not take a lot for me to get into crystals, but I liked this book because it had a little crystal like definition in the back, and just not a ton, but it was a nice start. So yeah, I think if you're kind of curious and you want to connect with your body and like see how the mind, body, and spirit really are connected and how you can use them all to your advantage, I really recommend this book. I think it's a good beginner book, and it's one that I go back to, honestly. It's not just for beginners. But that's what I got early on, and just it allowed me to kind of dive in as I wanted. I currently use this book quite a bit, Moon Magic. I use it because right now, like, it's good to just read. Like, yes, you can like jump to parts of it about specific moon phases, or like different, like with the astrology too, it talks about like full moon and Aquarius and all that stuff. So it's good to like jump to, but I'm actually like reading through it too. I'm not super into astrology. Like, I understand it, I appreciate it, but I'm not like the most knowledgeable, obviously. So I really enjoy this book. Hi, Opie. Hi, that's very sweet of you. Okay, now keep walking. Can you keep going? Yeah. Okay. So, Moon Magic. I actually got this at our $5 store. It was a win, I will tell you that. But yeah, some of it's very detailed, and a lot about manifestation and setting intentions with the moon. It's like your moon guide. That's basically what this is. So it's really handy. If you're thinking about making a change or like doing anything in your life, you can see like when would be a good time during the moon phases to do this. I also use this book a lot right now. It's Guided Tarot. It gives you like the history and kind of like, you know, the purpose of pulling cards and how you can use it and best practices, but it's very helpful. And it, like, I've honestly have learned tarot through this book, because it breaks down every card and it gives you like some spread ideas. It gives you how to interview your deck. I would recommend this book to anyone who wants to pull tarot for themselves or for other people. Okay, what else? Okay, obviously, I had to include my human design books. Now, this is gonna be like, if you are interested in human design and you're like, I need to know more. I bought these books because I knew I needed to know more than just myself and my chart. And I wanted to know more to be able to help people and expand my business and everything like that. So the Book of Lines is all about the gates and the channels in the human design chart. Simple. The definitive book of human design, it's like, I could just sit there and read this. It goes through everything, but love these two books. So if you are into human design and you happen to love it as much as I do, or you want to start incorporating it into like helping other people or into your business, obviously I recommend like physical books. I love the physical books because, well, you can write in them and go back to it. Okay, so the next couple books I love, and I'm going to mention a couple audiobooks or Audible, because as I became a foster parent, I'm wearing the mama sweatshirt. As I became a foster parent, I realized there was so much to parenting that I just have never thought about. I've never considered the way that I was raised. I never considered, like, besides conversations with my wife, I didn't put much thought into how I was raised compared to how other people are raised. And, you know, becoming a parent, it's interesting because there's so many things you think about, and like, how does this affect my kid, and how does this affect their childhood, and what decisions am I making that are gonna move them forward or hold them back, etc. And I just felt like so much responsibility. And being a foster mom, the trauma adds another layer onto that, and everyone has trauma, and it is in foster care, like, it's very trauma focused. So I felt uninformed and I started reading books. But there's a few books I just love. On Audible, I listened to this book. I probably should buy it, or I want to buy it, but The Boy Who Was Raised as a Dog, it's so good. It is so, so good. It's actually a book about all kinds of different stories, but I can't even explain how good it is. It's very interesting. Like, you will not be bored. Obviously, I listened to it. I didn't read it. But it helps open your eyes. And it also allows us to accept that we can heal from this, like, without expectation of, you know, the destination. So a lot of psychology in it and a lot of mindset, but really informative. Like, I learned so much from that book. The other book, I'm currently reading this, No Drama Discipline. I love it. It kind of, like, it's the parenting thing. Like, it's very healing to read this, but it's also, you know, very informative and helps me feel like I am gaining the awareness I need to be the best parent for my kids. And of course, What Happened to You? I love this book. It's with Oprah and Dr. Bruce Perry. This book, it really talks about trauma in a way that we can address it and face it and lean into it. That it's like, you know, it's taking away the question of what's wrong with you and asking yourself what happened to you and coming from a place of love. So definitely recommend this book. What else? Okay, so I guess I'm gonna show you a screenshot. Oh, these are just a few other things I grabbed, like an affirmation journal. I know it's not like a book to read, but like I like that it looks like it's like a workbook kind of. And then I have a journal that's like it too. So it's a manifesting generator journal, or it says it is, but I don't know if it's even further. I like the back of it. It says, do what lights you up. This is just a notebook. I write my daily card pulls in there. I don't know if you guys know Robert M. Drake. I love him. Have loved his writing for years. It is so good. Amy got me this book one year, I think for Christmas. I use it for inspiration. Like, the pages are really unique. But yeah, if you don't know, if you've never heard of R.M. Drake or Robert M. Drake, check him out. I think I follow him like on Facebook too. I think he's everywhere on social media, but beautiful words. I use it for inspiration. I keep the book handy because it's beautiful in itself. So those are like my inspiration, connecting, journaling books. What else? I have a few like mindset books that I really enjoy and could go back to. One of them is this No Limits by John C. Maxwell. I enjoy John Maxwell. I haven't read all of his books. I can't say that I've always been like interested in all of his books, but this No Limits one was really good because it taps into like all different areas where you could be putting limits on yourself, like emotionally, with your mindset, or like with people and relationships and creativity and how much you can produce, like production. Yeah, it's a really good book and helps you kind of put your mind in check. Oftentimes we put limits on ourselves through our mind only, and we are then convinced. So there's that book. One book, Untamed. It is like one of my all-time favorite books. I don't have the physical copy of it, but I have it on Audible. I listen to it. I've listened to it actually a few times. I can sit there and listen to it whenever I want. Like, I could just skip to it and listen to it, and it would be good. She also has a podcast. I can't think of the name of it right now, but it's really good too. Speaking of podcasts, I love any podcast that has an interview with Mel Robbins. Like, I love Mel Robbins, but I love when she's featured on podcasts. I think it's so good every time. I think she was on a podcast with Oprah about what happened to you. And I think Dr. Bruce Perry was on there too. Check it out. It's really good. I'm pretty sure it was those three. I might have to double check that. But Jay Shetty also has the podcast. I think it's On Purpose. Yeah, Jay Shetty, On Purpose. Really good podcast. Like, I have a very eclectic library, and obviously I have more books and I have more things that I could go to, but these are like, if somebody had to ask me what to look into or what to use, I would say this is what I use, and it feels good to have kind of like an assortment. Like I said, I always go back, like I'm reading Harry Potter, like I go back to things that just interest me, so that way I'm encouraged to always kind of learn more. Like, the learning, it never stops. But I love having a like library of books that I know all kind of work together to help make me a better person and help think about ways that I can improve myself and the way I think about things, the way I think about myself, and just my overall perception in life. So the other things I wanted to talk about were my favorite apps to use. The device is meant for connecting with other people. Like, cell phones, that's all we used to do with it. That's all we used to do with a phone, is to connect with somebody else. So I want to use my phone also to help me connect with myself, because I am on it quite a bit and I use it for like my business and a lot of my work. So the apps that I use to help remind me, I have a few. I really love CoStar. CoStar is an astrology app, essentially. I think you can see like your birth chart on there, and there will be like a daily update. It will tell you kind of like where you're thriving at, and it's all based on astrology. I check that daily. I actually have a widget that will just tell me like a daily update from CoStar, so it's really nice. My other favorite app that's kind of just like gives you like a daily thing or a monthly thing is the Pattern. The pattern is amazing. I honestly believe that there's some human design built into it, but it will talk about these possible phases or cycles that you're in based on, your birth chart and where the planets are currently. And it gives you updates, and it tells you where these like cycles that you could be on, like whether it's relationship healing or you're stepping into your power. There's a few different ones you'll probably be able to see on the screen. But I really enjoyed that app, and I think you can be friends with people on there, so that's a nice little feature. I do have a lunar phase, like a moon phase widget. I love staying connected with the moon. Obviously I have that moon book, but I think it's the lunar phase app. I think lunar phase widget app. And that is what I use on like my home screen to see where the moon phase is at. I then use a different app called Moon Calendar, and the reason I like that app separate is because it obviously tells me where the moon is at, but you enter in your birth information, so it kind of gives you an update based off of the moon phase, based off of your birth chart. So it's nice to have like that extra information about the moon phase. Okay, another app that I used early on was Insight Timer, and many people use this app for meditation. I recommend you get it even if you are anti-meditation, because there's things to help you go to sleep, there's things to just relax. It's not all meditation focused, but it did help me get into that mindset of, I can sit there and just observe my thoughts. I let go of that thing where I thought I had to control my thoughts. It's more so just like observing them and letting the thoughts come in and saying, I don't need you right now, or come back again later, whatever it may be, to really get in this state of meditation. And it was really thankful to this one app, and it's the Insight Timer. There's so many ways. You can just search on there, like what kind of meditation you want to do, or what kind of like calming relaxation method you want. But there's it's beginner to advanced probably. Insight Timer will get you like a variety of themes and guided meditations, and there's so much to choose from. It's really nice. Like, I don't go anywhere else really for meditations. I've gotten meditations from some of like the group programs and coaching that I've signed up for. But other than that, like, I don't seek out any other meditation except from Insight Timer. The last app I'm going to mention is the I Am app. I use it just for the widget. I hardly ever go into the app. But I use it as a home screen widget, and it just switches through affirmations throughout the day. You can actually set how you want the affirmations to show up, like how often you want them to show up and from what time of the day. Because I have the widget, I don't have notifications on for the app, so it's really simple, and I think it's aesthetically appealing. So that is a little bit of insight on the things that I use, the books that I read, to help me really stay connected and continue to learn, and really just encourage me to continue my self-love and healing journey. These are the things that excite me. So I really took out the overwhelm and the stress of like, I need to know more, because I don't feel that way. I feel like I have the information at my fingertips when I get the right resources around me. So that's how I feel secure. And I know it just kind of depends on how you are. I understand like some people are like, I'm going to buy this book and I'm going to read it all the way through, and it's going to be very set routine. Like, I'm going to work through this book. Probably why I'm not really good at book clubs, because I like reading at my own pace. Like, there will be times where I just don't pick up a book for a couple weeks, but then I sit down and finish it in one day because that's what I feel called to do. So it depends on you. Think about what is going to make you feel secure and supported in your knowledge, and just gaining knowledge, I guess, too, because I'm a firm believer that the learning never stops. So what's going to make you feel comfortable, and hopefully this video helps you guys a little bit figure out things that you might be missing, things that you want, and ways that you could set that up to support you. So comment below if you have any suggestions for anyone, book suggestions, Audible suggestions, podcast suggestions, whatever. What apps are you using? I want to know what has kind of helped you stay connected, and yeah, keep on moving in that learning, healing process. And again, thank you guys for joining. I will see you next time.